In this instruction video I will explain how you can use Solibri Office in your collaborative design project. First, I will introduce you to the main functionalities of Solibri. Then some information on how to use Solibri in practice, how to access it and what the different versions mean. Solibri Office is an extensive model validation tool that brings IFC model viewing, model checking, communication, and information takeoff. Solibri supports the IFC and BCF open standards. Solibri can be downloaded from the website of Solibri Solution Center. There is a link on the last slide. To start working on an IFC project for the first time, you need to open a model. Importing multiple IFC models from various disciplines creates a federated model, which allows design coordination and interdisciplinary checks. In the model tree view, you can see the components in the model in different hierarchies. With the sectioning tool, you can apply one or more section planes to your model to see deeper into the model and investigate its internal parts. One of the most important functionalities of Solibri is model checking. Before you can start checking, you should first take a look at the tasks on the to-do list. A rule set, a single rule, or an ITO, which will be discussed later, can contain tasks. The purpose of the task is to ensure the required data is valid and available for checking, and thus, gives reliable results. When talking about clashes, we commonly think of two components occupying the same space. These are often referred to as a hard clash, for example, a column running through a wall or pipework through a steel beam. But in addition to hard clashes, Solibri also has the ability to find soft clashes. A soft clash occurs when an element isn't given the spatial or geometric tolerances it requires, or its buffer zone is breached. Solibri can, for example, check whether a bathroom has the required turning circle of 1.5 meters diameter for a wheelchair. Checking is based on parameter-based rules. Each rule checks a specific item from the model, such as component dimensions, collisions, and property values. Rules are collected into rule sets, and a rule set can consist of several sub-rule sets. There are two main ways to use rule sets in Solibri, both will be discussed on the next slides. A classification is a standard and agreed manner to structure the domain information. Classification also allows you to colorize components based on their classification names. The most common task on the to-do list is classification. It is usually the precondition for many rule checking and information takeoff tasks. For example, if you want to check the space usage, you need to tell Solibri what types of spaces there are, and how they are represented in the model. Solibri can automatically classify objects based on information in building models, but sometimes this is not enough. In those cases, you need to additionally classify some objects. If you open the checking layout, a dialog box opens prompting you to select a role and related rule sets to be used in checking. These are default rule sets included with the standard Solibri installation. Each role can have its own set of default rule sets. The default rule sets are suggestions, and you can deselect them by clicking on them. Additional rule sets can also be selected. Rules are parametric, which means that you can control their behavior by setting the parameter values. This makes the system extremely flexible. Rules can be configured to check, for example, project-specific issues. It's important to understand that the rules do not change the model, they only find potential problems. It is always up to the user to decide which issues are important and what actions to take. In addition to the built-in rule sets, custom rule sets can be created using the Rule Set Manager. The Rule Set Manager can be found under the File tab in Solibri. In here, you can create new rule sets and modify existing ones. You can open rule sets located in different folders. It lists all of the available rules that exist in the available rule libraries. The Rule Set Manager allows you to edit the rule sets opened in the Rule Set Folders view in the Workspace view, make new rule sets, change their parameters, add generic tasks and user input tasks to them. Click on the Help icon to understand the meaning of rules. When your rule sets are ready, you have two options for checking: check model, the whole model, or check selected, the current selection basket content. Now you can just click the check model button. The progression and status of checking are shown in the checking view. The checking results are marked with symbols indicating the status of each rule. The symbols indicate the severity level of the issues. Issues are grouped into categories, which makes it easier to understand and deal with them. Issues also have associated components. Now you can review them and select critical ones, which you should communicate about with other people. When you have checked a model and created issues from checking results, you can convert those issues into a presentation. To organize issues into logical groups, you can create presentations in the Communication tab. Presentations are collections of issue slides, in short, issues. When you create an issue slide, you can add snapshots, including annotations, to the issue and communicate it further. These presentations become part of the SMC file and can be exported to Excel or BCF and can then be shared with the responsible persons. With a recent update of Solibri, it has also become possible to upload issues directly to a BCF server, using the BCF Live connector. Using the BCF Live connector provides a direct link between Solibri and cloud-based issue management systems, such as BIMTrack, BIMCollab, or BIMSync. In this way, the workflow of communicating issues and comments is streamlined so that there is a full audit trail of issues and the responsible team members. By storing the BCF issues in a central location, everyone has access to the same issues. This also prevents the BCF files from having to be emailed back and forth, and prevents the emergence of multiple versions of the same issue. Another useful function of Solibri is information takeoff, or ITO. Information takeoff allows you to see components in the 3D view and analyze quantities, properties, and locations at the same time. As discussed at checking, you should first take a look at the tasks on the to-do list. An ITO can contain tasks. The purpose of the task is to ensure the required data is valid and thus, gives reliable results. In the ITO tab, you can use templates created by Solibri to report information such as quantities from the model. Solibri includes predefined ITO definitions, but you can also create new ones based on your individual requirements. Filter the components to be analyzed. You can include, exclude, or ignore components. The columns of the ITO table are defined by the active ITO definition. If you click a row in the ITO table, the components are visualized in the 3D view. This is a general process of using Solibri. At first, building models are created, by you or other people in BIM authoring tools. Then, they are exported through IFC format and then imported into Solibri. Now you can use rule sets in Solibri to check the models. After the checking process, you can do an ITO or communicate about issues with other people. This information can subsequently be used to edit and improve the model. Now a bit more about how you get access to Solibri. If it's your first time working with Solibri at the university, you will receive an email from Solibri Solutions Center. Follow the hyperlink in that email to register yourself and install Solibri. The university has in total 10 floating licenses, which means only 10 people can work on Solibri simultaneously. So, if there are already 10 people working in Solibri, you cannot log in. In this case, you should wait for a while and then try logging in again. Solibri Office is formerly known as Solibri Model Checker. Therefore, it is sometimes referred to in this way. The Solibri product range currently exists out of 3 products: Solibri Anywhere, Site and Office. Through the university license you get access to Solibri Office, which includes all functionalities. The Anywhere version is free and includes model viewing and issue creation. Solibri Site has these functionalities and on top of that classifications and quantity takeoff. Finally, Solibri Office has all these functionalities and includes model checking and rule set creation. To summarize, Solibri Office is an extensive model validation tool that brings IFC model viewing, model checking, communication and information takeoff. Solibri supports both the IFC and BCF open standards. On the slide you can find some useful links to get started. The Solibri website is very useful if you run into questions. The image shows the login page of the Solibri Solution Center, where you should log in to download Solibri.